Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI in the Autobahn trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 225/45 Hankook tires wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. I really like this color, especially in contrast with this red accents of the GLI. So this is kind of like a Carolina blue or somewhat of a baby blue, I guess you can say. But yeah, looking pretty cool. Now it has the GLI red emblem there kind of popping out. There's also an accent light right in here. So you can see that in my night video if you want to check that out. It looks good with the Volkswagen emblem and everything. And then of course that red accent at the bottom really kind of gives it away that it's kind of a special vehicle. Now it has a multi-reflector headlight system. I show this in the night video how well they work at nighttime. So it has 3 on each side, 2 for the low beams, 1 for the high beams. They kind of work together at night. They do a decent job as well. You want to check that out. Looking at the profile, it has those gloss black wheels. Now it has this matte black trim piece that goes all the way across the bottom of the vehicle. Also, the pillars here are a matte black. So if those were gloss black, I think it would look a little bit better as far as solidifying the glass. Side mirrors are gloss black. The handles are body colored. The roof of the vehicle has a sunroof, but it has some gloss black as well, kind of trying to blend that in a little bit better. That's kind of neat. This is what the key looks like. It's a little bit different than some of the other Volkswagen keys, especially the newer ones. Has the badge there. But it's a full proximity system. Lock, unlock, the ability to open up the trunk there. But yeah, pretty good. When you open up the trunk, it springs up. So it kind of mostly gets out of your way when you approach the vehicle. Like if you have groceries in your hands or whatever, you can go ahead and plop them in there. But the way it's designed, it doesn't have the sensor on the back of the handle. It doesn't have a sensor here. It only has a button. So you press the button to lock it, you press it again to unlock it. There's also a physical key location here. You just take this off. There's a physical key on the inside of the key fob, and then you can unlock it here only on the driver's side. Most of the threshold is covered up by the door. Just a small piece there at the bottom that's not covered. But it doesn't have like a seal or anything too high. So it keeps it relatively clean. It's not like the type that goes all the way to the bottom of the vehicle. So the inside of the door here has a red stitching, looking pretty cool. Soft touch surfaces here and here. Has like a carbon fiber type look. Accent there, not exactly, but you know, similar to that. This is kind of soft touch injection molded type stuff, and then this is the kind of like a vinyl type material with the stitching, and then you have the hard touch surfaces on the rest of the door. Has a large pocket at the bottom, and it has a metallic handle, gloss black accent around it. Now it does have an illuminated sill plate, and it illuminates red. You can see that in the night video. Manually adjust the seats here for the passenger side. And they're a simulated or synthetic leather with the stitching here, perforations. They're heated and vented seats, and they're fairly comfortable. You know, they have some bolstering there, kind of looking sporty, but not being too intrusive. There's the leg room. It's fairly decent leg room here in the front. I mean, you do have some tapering here, and you know, of course, if you move the seats all the way back, it kind of limits the back seat room, but you know, it's pretty good. Hard touch surfaces back here, non-locking glove compartment, but has a huge glove compartment. Have you more stitching there as well. Gloss black accents around the vents, kind of blends them in to the vehicle. And then the dash is a kind of rubbery, soft, non-reflective surface there. You can see the opening here on the front is a lot of space here, so it's very easy to get in and out. You're not really bumping your head or anything. Now you notice the seats here in the back are a little bit higher than the front, and you have a little bit of a lower taper and a little bit less room getting in and out of the vehicle. So the swing of the door on the front is fine, but I think the swing of the door on the back could be a little bit wider, so that way it makes it a little bit easier to get in and out of the back seat, especially considering, you know, that smaller, you know, overall room getting in of the back. Now the back door, similar styling, but you have hard touch surfaces in more areas than the front. And this is hard touch here as well. The only soft is right here. It's kind of like a vinyl type material. No fancy seal plate or anything. And it's basically a bench seat, but it does have bolsters to kind of separate it. And it has this armrest here with cup holders. It's nice and soft. Car seat attachments on the outer seats, but not the center seat. And the back of this passenger seat has a mat pocket, but not the driver's seat there. And then there's no vents or anything here. Huge hump there in the center. So really the center passenger is not really that usable. But you can see how these seats all the way back, that one there especially, almost all the way back. But yeah, it kind of limits your legroom here in the back. So it depends on your needs, I guess. The door is here on the driver's side, and it locks with the vehicle. And it has a traditional cap and a little tether right here. But when you take the cap off, it has this little post, and you can just put it right in this little hole to hold it for you while you're pumping gas. And it puts it in a position to where you can't close the door. So, it reminds you to put this back on. And then now you can close the door and everything's secure. Looking at the back of the vehicle, you can see that gloss section right there. Also has a gloss black shark fin antenna there in the center, kind of small one. Third brake light is here at the base of the glass. And it has a full LED taillight system. Looks really sharp, looks really good at nighttime. Once again, check out the night video. Backup camera is almost in the very center. It's down here next to the tag, a little bit offset. But yeah, there it is. Has dual exhaust tips, chrome dual exhaust tips, looking kind of cool. Opening up the trunk, you can of course use the key, or you can press this button under here. And usually it goes all the way up, but sometimes it'll kind of like go halfway, so you have to lift it up the rest of the way. But yeah, not a big deal. The opening is okay. For this type of size of vehicle, having a trunk, the opening is actually a little bit bigger than some vehicles, so it makes it a little bit easier to use and get things in and out. And the inside space is very usable, very good. Mostly carpeted, you can see here on the sides. But then up here, you have the exposed metal and stuff. Under the floor is a spare tire, subwoofer, and tools, jack and stuff like that as well. Has a decent sound system. It's like a Beats sound system, and it's a little bit above average, I would say. Now the seats fold down. You can see the opening here though is not huge, but it does have the ability to fold the seats down. So what you do is you release them here. So it has this little pull here and here. So you pull that, and then you can fold the seats down. Now it's a 60-40 split, so you can fold down one side or the other to add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. Or you can fold them both down and have a much larger space. But you notice right here, it's quite a bit of a difference between this level and the trunk area. So as far as like, putting a bigger box or something like that, it's going to be a little bit of an issue as far as, using that space, because there's no like ramp or anything. It's just like a huge step up. As long as the key's inside the vehicle, just press the brake and the clutch and press this button to start it up. Has a lot of beeping going on sometimes. I think that's like a common thing in a lot of new vehicles where it's just constantly beeping at you for some reason. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now the floor mat snaps in place. There's the accelerator, brake, clutch, and footrest, and they're all that raised rubber aluminum sporty pedal. Let's take a look under the hood. Now you notice the hood latch, when the door is shut, is covered up, so that way you don't accidentally pull it while you're driving when the door is shut, I guess. To open the hood, there's a little latch right here, basically right here in the center, a little bit to the right of center. Just reach in, lift up on it, and this is basically what you're doing. Pretty simple but effective design. Now it does require a prop to hold it up. There's a prop here, and it swings up. You put it right where that arrow is pointing. Here's the engine compartment, and there is a little bit of insulation there on the underside of the hood. Seal almost completely around the engine compartment. The battery is easy to get to. It's also insulated. Check out all this heat shielding in the firewall. Heat shielding and insulation because there is a turbocharger back here right next to the firewall, which generates a lot of heat. So you can see the TSI stratified or turbocharged stratified injection. So it's a turbocharged direct injection 4-cylinder engine. Blind spot detection system and rear cross traffic alert and little indicators here on the side mirror. So it illuminates there on the side mirror when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. The driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So you have the power switches here. They're all one touch up and down. It's just regular glass, no lamination or anything. Side mirrors are adjusted there. They're heated as well. You can release the trunk here if you like. Car's beeping again. There's a power seat here for the driver's side. So it has 3 presets here. Power lumbar adjustments. You can go up, down, tilt, all that stuff, and then tilt the back here. And once again, these are heated and ventilated seats, and they are fairly comfortable. Had no problem with them. To the left of the steering column, there's the headlight switch. You have off, automatic, parking lights, and headlights on. There's also a tilt and telescoping steering column that you can lock in place here. Sitting in the driver's seat, I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And it's too far back actually, because since it's a manual transmission, I have to press the clutch in all the way. And with the seat all the way back, I'm not able to do that. So if you're over 6 feet tall, shouldn't really have a problem with driving this vehicle. The only thing is it just limits your back seat space. So it's amazing how far back the seat goes. I mean, it really is gonna cause a problem for if you have somebody in the back. But if you're kind of tall and you just don't have people in the back, you're just a driver, then this would actually work for a lot of people. Now it has a heated steering wheel and it has a very interesting shape. So it's got this little grip here, a little grip here, and it's not round. It's kind of like, you know, has like a non-round shape. I don't know how to explain it. More octagon here on the back and then round on the other side, and you know, just kind of has a different shape. Flat on the bottom basically, and then you have the perforations on the edge and smooth here. So yeah, it's kind of neat looking, sporty. It's got the red accents, GLI, gloss black. The buttons are like a soft touch, and you can do like swiping motions to do things, swiping up and down, swiping for the volume, that kind of stuff. So this is a cruise control here on the left side. The volume is here, and then you have the change to the tracks here, heated steering wheel button. These buttons correspond with the screen. We'll get to that in a second. Windshield wipers here. It does have automatic as well as far as the rain sensing system. And then you have the turn signal here, and here on the end you can press that to pull up your lane assist option there if you'd like to have that. But yeah, using these buttons right here, you can adjust the screen. But right now it shows the engine coolant temperature here and the fuel gauge outside of the screen, and the digital cockpit is in the middle. It's basically just a screen. And right now I have it just like a more plain screen right here with less information. It has a digital clock, digital compass, tachometer, basic information, odometer and stuff like that. So right now the odometer is not shown. How you show it is you turn off the cruise control, and then it'll show the odometer. It just kind of covers up. For some reason, there's plenty of room on the screen, but for some reason they want to hide it, and I had to make a special video because it was just a pain for a lot of people trying to find the odometer. And all it is, you just turn off the cruise control. But anyways, so we can go right here to this view button and then change the way this looks. It goes back to that look here. You can also scroll to the right and left and get more information there in the center. Now this one doesn't have the navigation set up, so you could have navigation here on the screen if you had that set up. This vehicle has to have it installed. It basically doesn't have it. So depending on what view you have, you can have different information here, and it's just different spots basically. But I like in this particular vehicle, I like the dials. Now you notice it has red. Now that's customizable with the ambient lighting. So whatever you have the color set to the ambient light, it'll change here on the screen as well. So the touchscreen is kind of basic. I mean, it seems a little dated to some degree, but it's functional and everything. You have some buttons on the outside here. So you have soft touch buttons so you can quickly go to the radio, the media, phone, voice recognition, cancel.
You can adjust the settings on the screen.
And then you have these different apps here for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Sound adjustments here. It has the Beat sound system, which sounds pretty good, especially after you adjust it. The equalizer has to be adjusted because on the flat profile it's not all that great. It does have a physical volume knob, tuned through the stations. This menu button here pops up different options. So like when I hit navigation, it doesn't say it's not activated. So yeah, it's showing on the screen, but it's not activated. So I guess you could go to the dealership and they can activate it for you for, I'm sure, a price. So yeah, you have the different options here, settings and all that stuff. When you go into the settings, you can see it kind of looks a little basic looking. That kind of stuff. You can pull down from the top and get quick access stuff as well. And if you hit the menu button for the climate control, it'll pop up here. I mean, it's basically everything's below, but you can have a little visual here if you'd like. Now, the only thing that you can't do down here is up here is the sync. For some reason, they didn't add a sync button down here, so you do have to pop it up for that. But other than that, it's pretty much just for looks, really. There's the four-way flashers, and these are all, once again, soft touch, swipey type buttons, so we can swipe this back and forth to get the temperature, and then you have the soft touch buttons for the 3-stage heated seat, 3-stage cooled seat, front and rear defrosters. That's where you want the air to blow. If you put on automatic, it just kind of does it for you. There's the passenger heated and cooled seats there. Fan speed. Once again, it's a good swipey one. And then you have the recirculate the air, that kind of stuff. 2 USB-C ports. It has a wireless charger, and it works well. Even with my cell phone, it has a big case on it. It seems to still charge, but it's not like you can just kind of slap it in there because it has this little space on the other side of the charger, so it's real easy to go past the charger. Like if you just slap it in there and don't pay attention, it's going to go past the charger. So you have to pull it back and make sure it's in that little right spot, so that way it'll charge. So, you know, it'd be kind of nice if, you know, it didn't have that extra space. It just had, you just threw your cell phone in there and it didn't have this little extra space here on the other side for it to go past. So that way, like every time you kind of have to line it up, make sure it's in there, make sure it's charging. And the only way you can know it's charging is if, let me put it back in there. It doesn't have any kind of lights or anything down here. It pops up here, right there, showing you that it's charging. And that's the only way you can tell. Has this little space here, kind of quick access stuff, but once again, it can fall into the charge space, so it can be designed probably a little bit better. So here's the shifter, manual transmission, 6-speed. So there's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And in reverse, you press down, and then over here, go in reverse. Here's the backup camera. It's pretty good. It has a wide-angle view. It has static guidelines, but it also, the resolution isn't all that great, and the position is down next to the tag, so you can see part of the vehicle here. You know, it could be a little bit better, but that's the way it looks. It has the electronic parking brake that engages the rear wheels when you pull up on it. Hold the brake and push down on it to release it. Drive modes are here, and it has the Eco, Comfort, Normal, and Sport. I like the Custom because you can go in here and adjust that. You can adjust these different things here. So steering, drivetrain, engine sound, cruise control, that kind of stuff. And then if you need to turn off the traction control, you could do that here. Now it has this 12-volt power supply, and it has like the cigarette lighter looking thing here. And I'm curious as to how long they're going to keep using this old, very, very old type cigarette lighter type of power adapter. You know, you think that they would eventually get like I mean, there's already USB-C ports. There's also, you know, maybe a D-tap or something like that would be more appropriate, but they're maintaining, I guess still people use the cigarette lighter. Maybe that's what it is. Cup holders are here. There's a lower one, there's a little bit higher one. Little space to put some stuff there. There's the armrest, and it's fairly soft, nice and pillowy soft, I guess you can say. And it doesn't have any kind of like latch or anything, but it basically stays wherever you leave it, and it doesn't rattle or anything, so that's good. And I really like the way it has this light interior. This is fantastic, because a lot of vehicles have this basically abyss where it's all black in there and like a felt lining at the bottom with no reflection whatsoever. So it just, you know, you can't really see in there good. And then of course there's no light. So this is a good option to have a light interior so you can see in there a little bit better, because it reflects the light in and out. Has a little space for wires to go in and out of the compartment there, and then you have some more connectivity with the USB, basically a charge port there. USB-C. There's also a space here for wires to go in and out on both sides. Has an auto dim rearview mirror, and it's auto dimming now because I have the shade over the light sensor, which is located on this side here. And we have some lights, so you can turn on individual lights, have them turn on with the door or not, and then the rear lights are here. Now, the thing about this is these are not backlit. So I saw that in the night video at nighttime, and I was like, you know, these are the only lights that you would use the only time you're going to use them is at nighttime. So why aren't they backlit? It doesn't make any sense. And Volkswagen's not the only one that does it. All right, so there is the place to put your shades, and it's kind of rubbery in there. Roadside assistance and stuff here. Now the visors, now it has a cloth material on the visor, just like the headliner. And then there is a little clip here, mirror with a light. These do extend out as well, and they give you halfway decent coverage. Basically the same thing on the other side. Now it has a sunroof, and the sunroof controls here. And it has this manual shade that does not cover 100% of the light. There's some light coming through. You know, maybe covers maybe 70%, something like that. So you can manually open it, press up on it like that to vent it, push it forward to close it, pull it back to open it. All right, let's pull it again. All right, that's as far back as it goes. But yeah, Volkswagen always has had a shade that doesn't block all the light. It has like this. On a real hot day, you want to stop the light, and on like a real hot day, you can feel the heat coming in. So yeah, I wish that was completely just blocked off, you know. So looking at the visibility there in the back, you notice the headrest there in the center is kind of popped up a little bit. It kind of does get in the way a little bit. The headrests kind of stick up, and I know they're head restraints, but yeah, they get in the way a little bit as far as the visibility, but it's not really a big deal. I mean, you can still see that glass right there helps out. So yeah, looking over my shoulder, driving the vehicle, backing up and all that stuff, not really a big deal. Of course, you have the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert, camera, and all that stuff. So, you know, it's not a big deal as far as visibility, but it's good to have a direct line of sight. It would be ideal. So yeah, those headrests, especially that center one, I'd definitely lower that. But other than that, it's not too bad. As far as performance, this vehicle definitely delivers. It is with the manual transmission especially, you just have that full control over the acceleration, and it does a pretty good job of holding straight. Even though you're kind of spinning tires a little bit, the traction control kind of kicks in. But yeah, you can of course turn that off if you want to spin more, but you're probably gonna have a hard time, you know, keeping it straight and maintaining your acceleration with the wheels spinning and everything. So yeah, basically by third gear, you're already at the speed limit, so you can only have fun for so long. But yeah, it feels so good. The clutch, the shifter, the acceleration, the power delivery, all that stuff just feels really nice. And you can customize a drive mode. Even though there's a manual transmission, it does have a drive mode where you can adjust the sound of the motor, the stiffness of the steering wheel, things like that. Just kind of like extra stuff, you know. The even has like a setting for the cruise control and stuff. But anyways, you have different drive modes, and I prefer basically the comfort. But sometimes it's fun to, you know, put it on custom and kind of play around with it. And right now I have it on sport exhaust sounds, so it has like exhaust sounds coming into the vehicle. So yeah, it's pretty fun. Now it has the adaptive cruise control system with the lane keep assist system, and it has a grip sensor, so it doesn't really bug you or anything. It can tell you're holding the steering wheel, so it doesn't rely on a torque sensor. So as you're driving, just kind of cruising along, and you're not really you know, putting too much effort into steering. It kind of helps you out with that. It doesn't fight against you. It just feels really good. Most of the noise is kept out. It's one of the, not one of the, like the super quiet vehicle, but there's a little bit of road noise, a little tiny bit of wind noise, but it's overall fine. I mean, once you play some music, or if you're having a conversation or whatever, that kind of stuff kind of drowns out. It's not really a big deal as far as the noise. The suspension's fairly decent. You know, it depends on the road, of course, but it handles the bumps well. And it, you know, for the type of vehicle, it's kind of a little bit on the lower side. A lot of people like the, you know, crossover, you know, compact SUV, which is a little bit higher off the ground. So this keeps that sedan style and everything. And it is, which is kind of odd to have a manual transmission in this type of vehicle. But you have this manual transmission, and then you have the acceleration and the performance, and, you know, and then it's just kind of like a regular, more of a regular vehicle. I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a family vehicle, because the back seats are not the biggest in the world. So if you occasionally have somebody in the back seat, you know, that's doable, but it's not really family. It's hard to justify as a family vehicle, really. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Golf R as far as the driving experience. You know, it feels good. That clutch, the transmission, all feels really good. You know, so it's, I wouldn't say it's exactly the same, but I mean, it's kind of reminds me of that, because we have a similar view here, and with the manual transmission in a Volkswagen. So, and it's, you know, I would say the Golf R is actually a little bit more practical as far as having a hatchback and all that stuff. Which this one, the trunk is usually trunks with my equipment and everything is, you know, sometimes a little bit of a pain, but this one's not too bad. It has a decent height, so where when I'm accessing my equipment, it's kind of, you know, allows me to get in there a little bit better than, you know, other vehicles this size with the trunk and without the hatchback. And it looks pretty cool. You know, little red accents kind of gives it away that it's more of a sportier version of the Jetta. But yeah, I think they did a great job with the redesign. It looks really good. With that steering wheel sensor, the grip sensor, you just barely put your hand on the steering wheel and it can sense your hand is there. Now, part of the issue, the part of the thing with the lane keep assist system is that since it doesn't bug you, but it's not as like holding to the line as tight as other vehicles that do bug you, you know. So yeah, it, you know, it kind of wanders a little bit, which allows you to kind of be where you want in the lane. But roads like this, it will follow these type of just gradual curves. Like a real sharp curve is gonna, you know, it's not gonna be as good. But yeah, it does. I'd rather it not be as intrusive than to than to be like this, where it's a little bit loosey-goosey, and that way it doesn't bug me, because I'm holding the steering wheel anyway, I mean, so it doesn't matter, it's so easy to drive the vehicle that it doesn't matter too much about the steering assist system, unless it's like a long straight highway. That kind of really helps out a lot, but yeah, these type of roads, where it's curvy and stuff, you really kind of have to hold the steering wheel and basically steer yourself, and this just kind of assists you at that. But having that grip sensor is really nice.